The second weekend in September is normally the final of the BoyleSports Derby, but this year it's been put back a week on the calendar, and well, what a night we can look forward to next week. But before then, we look forward to the two semi-finals. 12 will become 6 in the world's greatest greyhound race, the BoyleSports Irish Derby. Let's join Michael for the action.
So the runners now on parade for this first semi-final of the BoyleSports Derby, and in one is Gaytime Hawk, trained by Graham Holland for Deirdre O'Connell, son of Westmeath Hawk and Gaytime Gretty. He was the fastest winner in the Derby so far. He's the odds-on favourite in this race. And in 2 is Farloe Rumble, one of 2 runners in the semi-finals for Owen McKenna, owned by Paul Ellis, the son of Ace High Rumble and Final Oyster. 3 is Blue Cafoo, trained by Joe Hurley for Mark Lowther, son of Crash and Shamless Carroll. Then in 4 we have Tire Tommy, owned and trained by PJ Fahy, well-fancied son of Forest Master and Dee's Princess. 5 here, the big finishing Cable Bay, owned and trained by Brendan Matthews, son of Foley's Folly and Tom's Delight. And in 6 is JT Jet, a perfect draw on the outside, trained by Paul Hennessy for John Turner, a son of Druby Scolari and Chingak Gook. And in 1 here is Gaytime Hawk, 2 Farloe Rumble, 3 is Blue Cafoo, 4 Tire Tommy, 5 Cable Bay, and 6 is JT Jet. And away they go. Number 3 was slowly away, Blue Cafoo, and it's 1 Gaytime Hawk takes a flyer, leads up from 4 Tire Tommy in second. Now number 2 gets a lovely run through Farloe Rumble into the back straight. It's Gaytime Hawk in front, Farloe Rumble on the inside of Tire Tommy. Then comes 5 Cable Bay in a menacing position and JT Jet on the outside. The third bend, and 1's the leader, Gaytime Hawk from 2 Farloe Rumble. Cable Bay and Tire Tommy now battling it out, but out front it's Gaytime Hawk going to win it for Graham Holland. Second is number 2 Farloe Rumble, and third number 5 Cable Bay. They're the finalists, folks, the first 3 finalists in the Derby. The time is 29:41. And so the result of the first semi-final, the winner was number 1 Gaytime Hawk, trained by Graham Holland for Deirdre O'Connell. Second, number 2 Farloe Rumble, and third, number 5 Cable Bay. The time 29:41. And that means the Gaytime Hawk has the 2 fastest times recorded in this year's Derby.
Graham, Gaytime Hawk went through a bit of a purple patch before he went to England, went off the boil, but this dog is running as well as he's ever done in his career. In fact, he's on a different level at the moment.
Yeah, we're delighted with him. We're enjoying him at the moment. Once he broke there and made the bend, it'd be hard to stop because he probably gets a bit further than 550. So really, we're just delighted to get in the final and enjoy the moment. We've had a fantastic year, so to get to the Derby final, that's probably our cherry on top, you know, and we're enjoying the moment.
Would I be right in saying at the start of the Derby, he probably wasn't your best hope of Derby success?
He probably wasn't, but you never know in this game, and that's why some dogs are in it that shouldn't be in it, and sometimes they get the luck to get to the final, and this dog just happened to come to form at the right time, and we're enjoying every moment.
Looking forward to next week.
Yes, of course we are. You know, it's going to be a great week, a good buzz around the kennel. Everybody be buzzing for it, so it's been a good week this week, so fingers crossed we're there. As long as he runs well, we'll be happy.
Gaytime Hawk continuing his march into the final. 29:41, Kevin. This dog is really reaching the peak of his powers. This dog is absolutely flying. 29:34 last week, 29:41 tonight. The 2 fastest times in the Derby thus far. How can he be stopped?
Yeah, well, that's the big question, but there's still a second semi-final to come, and we know what's in the second semi-final. So, look, Gaytime Hawk done the job well from trap 1. The question mark that was over him, would he trap as well from the inside as he did last week from 5? He did. I don't think the track is running as well as it was last week. We saw Road Hawaii pop out earlier on and do what looked to be a flying run. It was only 28:40 odd or whatever. So I don't think the track is as fast. I think that was a more impressive performance. They closed on him at the third bend, but he just found more and more and more. And I'm telling you, he's going to be a big player next week.
He's a dog that kicks from the front. Of course, the draw will make a big difference in his chances. Behind him, Farloe Rumble. He came to life a bit. We've seen glimpses of it, but tonight he ran a big race. He was challenged for second down the back straight by Tire Tommy. Himself and Tire Tommy closed rapidly on Gaytime in the last few strides into the third bend, but they were cut off. But Farloe Rumble, importantly, had the inside line, and he stayed on well to grab second. And he's in the Derby final. He really has, I've used the expression a few times during this Derby, he's tiptoed into the Derby final. And who knows if Owen got a smash break out of this fella, which he has done once or twice in his trials, notably, not in races. He could be a player, but again, draw dependent perhaps.
Yeah, draw dependent, but I saw him down in Tralee in that puppy stake, and he did have early down there. It's eluded him in the competition thus far. He trapped a little bit better tonight, went up well, got a dream run around the opening 2 bends. got a lovely run at the third bend, a slight bit of congestion, but like you said, the ideal line. His run around the opening 2 bends sealed qualification for him. Look, he's in the final. I don't think he's won a heat so far. What a time it would be to lose his maiden in the Derby, in the competition. He needs to get a good draw. He needs to start faster than he did tonight to win it. He can win it. He's a very, very fast dog when he does things right. He hasn't put every piece of the jigsaw together thus far. If he can, what a week would it be to do it if he can do it next week.
And of course, the aforementioned tyre, Tommy, heartbreak for his connections. Cable Bay ran him out of it. And once again, we said early in the competition that Cable Bay was, well, pretty much bomb-proof in terms of qualifying. It was going to be very hard to keep him out of the final. And here we are. The Kirby Memorial winner is in the final. He's already won €80,000 on the Kirby. Can he add to it? Can he bring it over €200,000 by adding the BoyleSports Derby to it? He's an exceptionally fast greyhound. He has some power from that second bend. Tonight he had to overcome a little bit of adversity to qualify, but he did so, and as we've seen, he's a dog for the big occasion. He's a dog that obviously has claims in this Derby final.
Yeah, exactly, and when it gets tough in these latter stages, he's one that has shown it in a number of rounds in the Kirby Memorial. A long competition like this, 6 weeks, he'll be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. He's in real shrewd hands. He's got it from the second bend home. That stamina will be catching up on the early pace runners a little bit now, because it is going to be the 6th week now in a row up here over that 550-yard trip. Look, he'll need a decent draw. He'll need luck on his side. I think it'll probably come down to 1 or 2 of the early pace runners in front of him might need to get a little bit of trouble, or he might need to get a dream run early on. He won't have the early to go up with the likes of Farloe Blitz or Ballymac Matt should they make it through. If he can turn close, he's by far the fastest finisher in the competition for me. But you're not going to pick up a dog like Gaytime Hawk in 29.40, so if Gaytime Hawk gets on the bunny next week, you can't really see how he's going to be beaten either.
Absolutely. We have to mention the 3 runners that went out. Of course, the aforementioned tired Tommy ran his heart out. He was a dog that was coming right at the right time, just didn't have that look at the third bend tonight. Behind him, of course, JT Jet ran a blinder for your father through the competition. There's better to come from him next year. He's next year's Greyhound. And Blue Cafu, well, he lost his chance of traps tonight. We've spoken about his trapping throughout the Derby, but tonight was just complete fluff. It was just one of those freak things.
Yeah, exactly. You can, whatever about Tired Tommy and JT Jet, at least they got a run at it, and you can say that they got a bit of trouble, but Luke Harfui comes out 4 or 5 behind the rest of the field, and in a Derby semi-final, in the Derby first round, you won't get away with that, let alone the semi-finals. And you got a feel for connections to get this far, and for something like that to happen, it was a real pity. JT Jet, next year's dog, didn't run the bends great so far in the competition. Look, he'll probably do it a bit of time off now, and I'm sure he'll come back a stronger dog. And Tired Tommy, so unlucky not to go out. He battled even to the line. There was a coming together between him and Cable Bay, and you just got a feel for him. But he really ran well and ran with great credit. And I'm sure for the remainder of the year he'll be prominent in all the big competitions.
Very much so indeed. Well, that's it. We know one thing for certain. There's going to be 6 inside seeds in the final. 3 have gone through from the first heat, and they're all inside seeds in the second heat. Let's see which 3 will join Gaytime Hawk, Farloe Rumble and Cable Bay. It's up to Michael.
So now the runners on parade for the second semi-final of the BoyleSports Derby, and in one, the unbeaten Ballymac Matt, trained by Liam Dowling for the Ballymac Kelly and the Lads Syndicate, son of Tara Big Mike and Ballymac Scarlet, very well drawn here. Then in 2 is Farloe Blitz, his favourite for the English Derby final, trained by Owen McKenna for Paul Ellis, his half-brother is already in the final, this for the son of Premier Fantasy and Final Oyster. 3 is Save the Dawn, trained by Fraser Black for the Diamonds Are Forever Syndicate, son of Droopy Scolari and Cranky Rosaline, a dog that can also go up very strongly. In 4, Highview Apollo, one of the big improvers in the Derby, trained by Jerry Merriman for Paddy Merriman, son of Premier Fantasy and Highview Horizon, finishes very strongly. In 5, we have Shut the Back Door, bidding to give Brendan Matthews his second finalist. He's a son of Droopy Scolari and gives some more. And then in 6, similarly unbeaten, like Ballymac Matt, unbeaten in the Classic, Peregrine Falcon, owned and trained by Pat O'Brien, a son of ASI Rumble and Minefield. He's been a revelation in the Derby, but he'd prefer an inside draw, but he's still not out of it with a real chance here. The bell goes. In 1 is Ballymac Matt, 2 Farloe Blitz, 3 is Save the Dawn, 4 Highview Apollo, 5 Shut the Back Door, and 6 is Peregrine Falcon. And away they go. The inside tour very well away. Farloe Blitz now just leading. Gone on by a length and a half from 1 Ballymac Matt. In 3rd is Peregrine Falcon. The 3 favourites are out, 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Farloe Blitz leads down the back by 3.5 lengths. Ballymac Matt is now starting to ease into that advantage. It's down to a length and a half at the 3rd bend. Farloe Blitz in front, Ballymac Matt second, Peregrine Falcon, they're the three in possession at the moment of the places in the final. As Farloe Blitz leads up to the line, Ballymac Matt is running on strongly, but Farloe Blitz wins it from one in second spot, which was Ballymac Matt, and Peregrine Falcon, I reckon, held on for third. The time is 29:54, so 2 finalists for Owen McKenna and their half brothers. The result of the second semi-final, the winner was number 2 Farloe Blitz, trained by Owen McKenna for Paul Ellis. They have 2 finalists now, and he's a son of Premier Fantasy and Final Oyster, a half brother to Farloe Rumble. Second was 1 Ballymac Matt, and third number 6 Peregrine Falcon. The time 29:54.
Owen, Blitz by name, Blitz by nature. He's done it again. This fellow he's some greyhound.
He's doing his job and he's there and he's in the final. We got to the final English Derby, didn't go right in the night, but he's a great little dog. You know what I mean? He's been a great servant for us, whatever happens next week. So the draw now is going to be a big thing, but it's great to be there.
You've always said he's very resilient. The way he's running would suggest that. Like, he's had a long, hard year. Like, to go to England takes more of a dog than people realise. But to come then to Ireland, back to Ireland, and Shelbourne Park, of all trips, 550 yards, this fellow is absolutely revelling in it.
He's running well, like, come here. The dog, there's nothing left undone with the dog. 7 days a week, you know what I mean, morning, noon and night.
Yes, Owen McKenna clearly a delighted man with Farloe Blitz after scoring in the second semi-final of the BoyleSports Irish Derby, chased home by Ballymac Matt and Peregrine Falcon qualifying in third. The big 3 in the market. It was one for the bookmakers to get a bit of a hiding. Farloe Blitz was the popular choice throughout the week. He did it rightly again. This dog is flying to the corner. Despite all the running he's had this year in Wimbledon and now in Shelbourne Park, he seems to be still at his very best, and it's clear he's going to play a big part in this year's Derby decider.
Yeah, definitely. He's got that early pace. You'd imagine, barring any accidents or barring a bad trap draw, he's going to be in front at the corner. He just has that electrifying speed that can carry him to the front. Matt ran well tonight, much better than last week for me. I know he tasted defeat for the first time in the competition, but I think it was a much better performance for him. He ran him down, he got to within a length of him at the line. The draw is going to be crucial. Will Matt get one again? What a coincidence that would be. But look, Blitz did it the way he does it best, and that's from the front. He will be favoured, I would imagine. But I think everything in the final will be looking at themselves going, if we can turn close or if we can turn second, we've got a chance, because he's not as fast as Gaytime Hawk on the clock, as we've seen. He has got slightly slower tonight on his clock, so there is a little bit of optimism there to be had. I know the track's probably not as quick, but still there's optimism to be had that we can get him chinned as well. But I thought Matt bounced back tonight. He answered his critics, me mostly as well. I just wasn't impressed with him last week. Much more impressed with him this week. If you're going to go along with the line and say Farloe Blitz was brilliant tonight, you've got to give credit to Ballymac Matt. He chased him down to within a length of him, and Peregrine Falcon. What a run to get across from trap 6. He did it last week. I couldn't see him getting a run. He did it again tonight. He took a bump at the bend and still managed to be in the final. What a win he'd be as well.
Absolutely. You mentioned Ballymac Matt. He suffered his one defeat in Shelbourne Park. Now that's his first defeat. I'm sure Liam and Shane Dowling would have taken that in the semi-finals with hope that he'd regain his winning touch in the final. As you said, he ran very hard in defeat. And Peregrine Falcon, despite a horrendous draw in trap 6. Okay, he was well behind the front two, but as we said, trap draw dependent. If he got trap 1 or 2 in the final, he's not without a chance. He's a greyhound that we know his limit. His limit is a high limit. It's 29.50 at the moment. Who's to say he can't go a fraction faster if he got the right trap in the final?
Well, I think 29.50 won't be far away next week. I think 29.50, if you offered any of the connections 29.50, they'll be disappointed if they're not in the first 2. Look, Peregrine Falcon did an awful lot of running to get across from a horrible draw. He matched stride for stride with both in front of him down the back. He just got tired in the last 25 yards, which is understandable considering the amount of run he did in the early stages. Ballymac Matt, awesome tonight for me. I think he really, despite being defeated, I think he ran a big race in behind. He pinged out, he did everything right. Whether or not he's going to be a good enough dog to beat Blitz, I think on the running tonight you'd have to say Blitz will have to slightly miss the kick a little bit, because the 2 dogs done everything right tonight and Blitz was too strong for him. So lots of questions to be answered next week.
Derby finals are a law unto themselves. We have to mention the 3 dogs that went out there, saved the dawn, Highview, Apollo and shut the back door. All 3 played their part in this year's Derby. Unfortunate they go out at this stage, but the fancied runners got first run on them, and that was the story of the race.
Yeah, exactly. no disrespect to Shut the Front Door, he looked a likely dog that was going to struggle tonight. A poor draw, hadn't been at his best, didn't show the early.
But ran well in defeat.
Ran well in defeat, but just couldn't get across. And from that draw, you would have expected the match's team would have been expecting the worst there. High View Apollo, I think Jerry Merriman deserves great credit, just even for that dog, the run-ins he did behind Ballymac Matt in the previous rounds. Ran well again tonight, but like you said, just once the main guns got ahead, the writing was on the wall really.
Absolutely. And now it's all about the trap draw. Let's see which trap goes to the fancied runners. Let's join Michael.
And the trap draw for the final of the BoyleSports Irish Derby 2015. In 1 is Farloe Blitz, almost guaranteed to be favourite. 2, Cable Bay. 3 is Ballymac Matt. In 4, Peregrine Falcon. 5, Gaytime Hawk. And 6 is Farloe Rumble. 2 Farlows, 1 and 6. But what a race. It really promises to be an absolute thriller. Next week, folks, don't miss it. It's going to make for some great watching and enjoying.